call it that. They would call it shit like, hey man, you too big to be getting hit. Or they would call it shit like, hey man, you big enough to get hit. And I don't know what's worse. I just know the second time she hit me, she didn't like something I said and pushed me off a bar stool. I got up, she swung, I blocked, she grabs a knife, I fight it from her hands, push her back, but she claims I put my hands on her, and I don't know what to call it. I mean, I would call it self-defense, but who would let me call it that? And I would call it domestic violence, but who committed the crime when people can only relate to predators when they are drenched in fangs and claws and toxic masculinity, and no one ever acknowledges the beasts that cry to lure in their prey. And I don't know what's worse. I just know every time I tried to leave, she would take everything. Cell phone, car keys, laptop, held me hostage to her hostility till I caved to her cries. I just know she would spend all my money and then use hers to go on trips by herself and say shit like, I didn't feel like paying for you. I just know anything ever bought for my benefit was used as a weapon of manipulation, and I don't know what to call it. I mean, I would call it financial abuse, but who the fuck has even ever heard of that? And who can relate to that when people only see men as societally based as worth what they can provide? And I don't know what to call it. I just know that if my people perish for a lack of knowledge, then I die inside every time I try to explain something I can't name. Because no one can.
I'm your biggest fan. I hope it falls into place just how you planned it. Life could put you in a pickle, just make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement, slowly moving. But when I saw this clip, because I don't really like poetry like that, but when I saw the clip, something came to mind and was like, well, let me get this right. With some people, they couldn't tell, they may not be able to tell if he's talking about him as a child or him as an adult. Now, there's dead giveaways, in my opinion, but he's talking about being a kid with his mother, being raised by his mother, and this is what she does. But it's the things he's talking about, for the most part, are eerily similar to what men talk about when they're in bad relationships with women. And when people say you've been taught a certain type of behavior, you've been taught to be treated a certain type of way, you've been taught that these rules apply to you, but those same rules don't apply to ladies. And this is what you wind up with. Like he said, you too big to be getting hit, but you big enough to get hit. The idea is a grown man, he can quote unquote reflect and go, she used to take all my money and then go on trips and say stuff like, I ain't want to take you. I ain't got enough money to take you. And it's like, chasing a child with a knife, right? I'm so mad I've stabbed him. It's like, oh, okay. But he shouldn't defend himself from that, right? And years ago when I was doing YouTube, there was a stretch for, I don't know, a 2-3 year stretch where you saw news stories and clips of black men being killed by black women. She didn't like her birthday gift. She thought he was cheating. She got mad at something. They were breaking up. Guy got hit by a car and ran over. A woman tried to kill a guy with a car and hit it and killed an innocent bystander. When I say, she didn't like a birthday cake, she stabbed the guy to death. I want to say one of them didn't like getting roses and stabbed the guy to death. And people don't think this type of behavior, they think this type of behavior just comes out of the blue. And it's like, no, when you see a grown man who winds up being a poet, basically making a poem about being abused and manipulated as a child. A lot of us don't want to deal with the reality that, and you can lump the passport bro thing or the NFL draft if you want to. But there's been a generational thing of toxicity when it comes to mothers and their children. I saw a video by Marvelous Jarvis. It came up yesterday. He did a whole skit about having a kid with a woman and she put him on child support because she don't like his girlfriend. And then a guy came to her home, to his, let's just say, baby mama's home, and had to tell her, I'm your father, but your mother kept me away from you. She changed your last name, so I've been looking for you. And he finally found her, right? And then she had to go to her mother. But what this shows over and over and over again is we like to ignore the traumas that modern day mothers, um, the trauma that they regularly give to their children. And I think kids grow up to be adults and they have trust issues and relationship issues because love is the weapon that an evil mother or a bitter mother uses to sabotage their children's life. And kids, get screwed over and over and over again until they figure out this person does not like me or does not have my best interests at heart, or they're trying to break me. Because there's a difference between discipline and and parenting and basically abuse and sabotage. But there are a lot of people that there are a lot of mothers out there who blurred the line. So a lot of these kids who want to be adults trying to figure it out. That's why you have so many people in some ways who believe that you can hurt the people closest to you and y'all will figure it out. And it's like, no, you won't figure it out. But when I listen to the poet talking, it's like, bro, some people can think about it as that could have been a child being raised by a mom, or that could have been a guy who's down on his luck or who's a homosexual. It's the same thing, the same exact thing. And then I saw these videos recently, these kids who were in trouble. And they were like, look, I would love to just go live with my father, but they won't let me. And people don't talk about this enough, that sometimes the abuse that mothers basically give to their kids, they could end the abuse by just sending the kid to their fathers, but they want control and they want what they feel is power and they want leverage. And normally it's at the expense of their children. And you're starting to see people wising up faster that, oh, I would have had a better life over there, but you were basically, you know, abusing me here because I love you, basically. And you painted my dad as a this, that, and the third. So I thought you were the lesser of two evils. And this is what modern day parent has become, the illusion of mother being the lesser of two evils. So the abuse that she doles out to her kids isn't looked at as abuse, because the imaginary abuse that they could possibly get from their dad is always looming in the air like a, like a villain in a Marvel movie. But I'm gonna leave it at that. You tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna take you.